Google business model. Introduction. Google company has sustained an increase in growth and performance for the last few years compared to other technology companies. The sustained growth is as a result of the company moving from the volunteer development team to a full-time P4 admin operations team. One of the new approaches that the P4 admin operations team undertook was to develop and maintain a strategic plan for Perforce use at Google. The benefits of the strategic performance plan at Google included providing a roadmap for the supporting teams and the P4 admin to follow, serving as a vision of future performance gain, setting of both the long-term and standard engineering priorities, and shaping periodic discussions and support over anticipated spending and needed resources with the senior management. The core tenet of Google's strategy to dominate the field of search engines. The core tenet at Google was to have a plan that reflects on reality. Google developed a strategic plan that was reviewed at least once a while, usually touching on the goals and objectives of the company teams. The company has several groups with overlapping responsibilities for the P4 service. Additionally, the plan provides for segregation boundaries for the service itself, the underlying machine rooms and hardware from which the service runs, and on the platforms and protocols on which the Google services run. The management has set cooperation to be essential amongst the various groups for the P4 service optimal performance. Point persons and owners in each group when setting up annual and quarterly goals remain in close proximity. For example, when upgrading the various P4 servers, the upgrading is an extensive burn-in test cycle which is complicated, and thus the upgrade timeframes are clearly announced in advance. The upgrade is also fully agreed upon by all the involved groups, and careful vetting of implications is done on downstream infrastructure. If the processes and procedures fail, Google documents the failures, modifies the procedures and processes, and then moves forward with a more robust plan. Another important tenet of the Google strategic plan is assuring of scalability of the P4 service. Google manages the scalability of its critical infrastructure services by taking a long-term approach that projects out several years of ensuring the efficient running of the P4 service. The P4 strategic plan accordingly identifies the dependent infrastructures, platforms, and new hardware that are required to ensure the service runs efficiently. In order to predict better future needs of its consumers, Google company monitors and trends the source code growth rates. An important tenet of the plan is to understand usage patterns and project development in different regions of the world. How Google is different from other leading search engines. Google company is much different from other search engines since it has established itself well by locating its engineering offices worldwide. For instance, Google has established machine rooms and infrastructure services in virtually all the countries of the world, enabling confidence when planning to conduct adjustment of load without any issues. Google company also prides itself in the go-anywhere approach for both engineering resources and product development. Google also has developed teamwork where it encourages its engineers to share code and ideas with other engineers in the company. Consequently, the company has developed a distinct and centralized repository that scales both the local and remote users all over the world by delivering to them acceptable performance. In order to keep the operations humming for many years into the future, the management team at Google encourages and expects core infrastructure teams to get all the necessary equipment. Also, to improve on the responsibility of spending, the management expects the infrastructure teams to document all records that justify the expenditure. In order to establish a better stand in the market, Google spends whatever amount is required for sustained operational support and disaster recovery of its P4 services. For the purpose of data recovery, the company has purchased several and identical sets of hardware and infrastructure such as servers needed to keep the P4 services in production mode for both small and regional locations for an indefinite period. Additionally, in order to manage the infrastructures, the operating team groups such that the services can be monitored throughout the day. Google company further performs a week-long disaster recovery, but the services to its consumers are never interrupted. Defining PageRank and its effectiveness in searching. PageRank is a value that is computed by search engines in order to list pages by the priorities. The link structure of the Internet entirely determines the PageRank. PageRank is usually computed from the votes cast by other sites and is independent of individual queries carried out or the actual content data of any of the web pages. A page priority increases significantly if it is referred by another page. The importance of a page can therefore be determined when the PageRank is calculated. When a person searches for a piece of information, Google uses the PageRank in order to rank the pages by the priorities. PageRank is paramount and effective since the algorithm used to generate it only takes a fraction of the time to rank the page. PageRank also eliminates the possibility of dead ends if the pages were to be searched randomly over the web. The effect of implementing the PageRank algorithm resulted in more productivity of users since valuable information can easily be accessed and has a high probability of being ranked first. The limitations of Google's approach. One of the consequences of the approach used by Google is the management and tolerance of different versions of a product on performance and proxy servers at the same time. The problem comes about when the infrastructure team tries to make sure all servers across the world are equally revved, and in fact, the servers remain out of balance, giving inaccurate data. Another potential challenge is that a large number of local tools with dependencies at different levels into P4 must be kept up to date, in addition of testing releases of all performance software products before deploying them. Also, all the older versions of user tools and APIs need to be replaced to enhance and enable faster updates. The kind of business models that Google uses. Google uses different types of business models. Mainly, Google uses the web advertising model. The model works on the principle of using the first website to provide actual content and services. The page can then have links that lead to additional advertisement pages in the form of banners. Additionally, the company uses a brokerage business model. The model brings together buyers and sellers by facilitating the transactions they desire to make. Finally, Google can also use the informed diary business model where it enables buyers and sellers to understand the market.